Welcome to Master Your Money, Budgeting, Saving, and Debt-Free Living. I'm your host, Nate Tanner. On this show, we use the Triggator triangle, budget, save, and pay off debt to help you build a spending plan that fits your life, grow your savings with purpose, and knock out debt with confidence. If the phrase tax season makes your shoulders tense up just a little, you're not alone. For a lot of people, taxes don't just feel like paperwork. They feel like a verdict. You worry about whether you did something wrong, whether you owe more than you expected, or whether that refund you're counting on will quietly disappear. Even when the numbers aren't catastrophic, the uncertainty can steal your peace. But what if tax season didn't have to feel like that? What if, instead of a stress spike once a year, tax season became a moment of clarity, even progress? That's what today is all about. This is Tax Season Calm Season, and we're going to walk through how to approach the 2026 tax season with confidence, not fear. There are some real changes this year that actually matter for everyday families. Lower overall federal tax liability for many households, a bigger standard deduction and inflation-adjusted brackets that shield more of your income, new temporary deductions around things like overtime, tips, seniors, and even car loan interest. And for homeowners in high-tax states, real, though temporary, relief from the SALT cap. These aren't things you need to obsess over, but they are things that you should understand, so you're not surprised when the numbers land. We're also going to talk about something that rarely gets discussed calmly: what to do when you owe. Owing money isn't a moral failure. It's a math problem with options, and you should never panic over math. And if you do get a refund, we'll map out how to turn that money into something meaningful, not forgotten. Whether that means strengthening your peace of mind fund on the save side of the Triggator triangle or putting fuel on your debt snowball to accelerate freedom. You'll have a plan you can feel good about. According to IRS aggregated data by the Tax Foundation, in recent years, a significant portion of taxpayers adjust their withholding after experiencing stress or surprise at tax time. Proof that most people aren't bad with money. They just haven't been coached through calm systems yet. That's what we're building today. You don't need perfection this tax season. You need clarity, a few steady steps, and a mindset shift that puts you back in control. Let's get into it. Calm beats chaos. Understanding what actually changed for 2026. Before you decide what to do this tax season, you need clarity about what's actually different. A lot of anxiety around taxes doesn't come from the numbers. It comes from not knowing which headlines matter and which ones are just noise. So in this section, we're slowing things down, zooming out, and grounding you in the real changes that affect everyday households in 2026. Calm starts with understanding why tax confusion creates stress, even before the math. Most people don't get stressed because they're irresponsible. They get stressed because the rules feel invisible and unpredictable. You hear phrases like expanded deductions or temporary tax relief, but no one explains how that actually touches your paycheck or your paycheck spending plan. Here's the problem. When information feels vague, your brain fills in the blanks with fear. You assume the worst, that you'll owe more, that you missed something, that you should have done something 6 months ago. That's why clarity is such a powerful stress reducer. Tax season becomes calmer when you shift from reaction to preparation. You don't need to memorize tax code. You need a working understanding of what changed and how it might show up on your return. Once you have that, decisions become mechanical instead of emotional. That's exactly how the Triggator triangle works. On the budget side, clarity helps you plan. On the save side, it helps you prepare. And on the payoff debt side, it helps you act with confidence instead of urgency. The big picture: lower liability for many families. One of the most encouraging themes for 2026 is that many households will see generally lower federal tax liability. Expanded deductions and higher child tax credit means families with children are often keeping more of what they earn, either through smaller tax bills or larger refunds. This matters because refunds aren't free money. They're simply money that is already yours, returned when your withholding overshot reality. The goal isn't to maximize refunds. It's to reduce surprises. The IRS and Tax Policy Center have reported in recent years that families benefiting from refund credits often experience improved short-term financial stability when those credits are used intentionally rather than absorbed into everyday spending. That tells us something powerful. The impact isn't just about tax math. It's about how you respond to the result. When liability decreases, opportunity increases. A refund becomes a choice point. A lower tax bill becomes breathing room. Either way, understanding why the numbers change gives you back control. Bigger standard deduction plus inflation adjustment. What that really means. Let's make this practical. A larger standard deduction in 2026 means more of your income is shielded from taxes before calculations start. Add inflation-indexed brackets, and income that might have been nudged into a higher tax rate in the past may stay put instead. This doesn't mean you're gaming the system. It means the system is accounting for reality. Higher costs, higher nominal income, and the need to prevent bracket creep. The real-world effect, your paycheck may feel tighter because prices went up, but your tax burden doesn't rise at the same rate. That's a quiet win. From a paycheck spending plan perspective, this protects your margin. It reduces the likelihood that tax time derails goals you set months earlier. And margin, even in small amounts, is where financial calm lives. Temporary breaks you should know exist, even if you don't qualify. For 2025 through 2028, several temporary tax deductions entered the picture, including benefits tied to seniors, overtime income, tips, and even car loan interest. Now, not everyone qualifies, and not every deduction applies every year. But knowledge still matters. Why? Because these provisions remind us that tax seasons are dynamic. They change. And what doesn't apply this year might matter next year, especially as jobs, income, or seasons of life shift. This is also where a quick definition helps. A deduction reduces the income you're taxed on, while a credit reduces your tax bill directly. That distinction is critical when evaluating what actually moves the needle for you. You don't need to chase every break. You just need to recognize when something meaningful enters the picture and when it doesn't. Think about Lord of the Rings. Before Frodo takes a single step, there's a map, a council, a long conversation about what's changed in the world and what's at stake. No one says, just start walking and hope it works out. Tax season without understanding is like starting a quest without a map. You'll still move, but every step feels risky. Clarity doesn't make the journey short. It makes it intentional. And that's how calm replaces chaos. The tax owing alligator, how to stop the bite before it happens. Most people don't need a spreadsheet to know what's coming at tax time. Deep down, you usually have a sense. I think I'm getting a refund this year, or I might owe again. That feeling isn't intuition, it's experience. And in Triggator language, that feeling usually means one thing. There's a tax-owing alligator lurking just below the surface. You don't always see it, but you know it's there. And if you ignore it long enough, April 15th rolls around and snap, it bites you. This section is about spotting that alligator early, choosing the right repellents, and feeding it before it takes a chunk out of your peace of mind. Meet an alligator expense is any predictable but non-monthly cost that sneaks up on you if you don't have a plan for it. Car repairs, annual insurance premiums, holiday spending. And taxes absolutely qualify. If you've owed taxes more than once, that's not bad luck. That's a pattern, and patterns are powerful because they're predictable. The mistake most people make is treating tax owing like a surprise instead of what it really is, a known risk that just hasn't been named yet. Once you name it, you can plan for it. Calm replaces chaos the moment that you say, okay, this is one of my alligators. 2 competing gator repellents and why one is risky. When it comes to taxes, you'll usually hear one of 2 strategies for those that owe. Repellent number 1, invest first, pay later. This camp argues that lower withholding is better because you keep more money in your pocket during the year, you invest it, and then you pay your tax bill when it's due. And technically, on paper, that can work. But here's the catch. It is a high-risk alligator fund. Markets go down, investments lose value, and when April arrives, the tax bill doesn't care what the market did. That's when stress shows up, because the money you plan to use might not all be there. Repellent number 2, pay one paycheck at a time. This approach adjusts your withholdings so that your tax obligation is handled gradually, automatically, and quietly throughout the year. No big bill, no scramble, no stress. This is what we call Goldilocks withholding. Not too cold, owing, not too hot, massive refunds, but just right. At Triggator, we're big fans of peace of mind, and for most people, this is the safest and most effective option. Why predictability beats optimization. There's a reason predictable systems feel calming. According to behavioral finance research summarized by the American Psychological Association, financial stress is significantly lower when expenses are anticipated and automated, even when the total cost is the same. That's huge. It tells us that calm doesn't come from squeezing every possible dollar. It comes from removing uncertainty. Goldilocks withholding does exactly that. It keeps taxes from becoming a surprise debt and protects the rest of your paycheck spending plan from disruption. Optimization sounds smart. Predictability feels peaceful. Start saving now. Build a tax alligator fund. If history shows that you owe $1,000 most years, that's not a failure, that's a forecast. And forecasts give you power. Today, we're about 11 weeks from April 15th, with roughly 5 bi-weekly paychecks left. That means your target is simple: $200 per paycheck into a dedicated tax alligator fund. No drama, no scrambling, just feeding the gator slowly so that it doesn't bite later. This lives on the save side of the Triggator triangle, not because it's fun, but because it protects everything else. You're buying calm in advance. Calculate early, file when you're ready. Here's a critical reminder. Taxes are due April 15th, not when you finish your paperwork. You can calculate early, know the number, and still wait to file. That's not procrastination, it's strategy. Early calculation gives you a clear target and time to fund it intentionally. This is how calm people handle taxes. They plan. Think Jaws. The problem really wasn't the shark. It was ignoring it. Once they acknowledged the risk and planned around it, things changed. Your tax bill isn't the villain. Ignoring it is. Feed the gator early, and the gator loses its power. Turn a refund into a winning without creating next year's stress. There's a moment every year when the tax refund hits and it feels like a deep exhale. The balance jumps, the pressure lifts. For some people, it's the only time all year that they feel financially okay. And that right there is the problem. A refund isn't the finish line, it's a signal. And how you respond to it determines whether next year feels calmer or exactly the same. This section is about flipping the script. Using refunds intentionally, reinforcing Goldilocks withholdings, and making sure any windfall moves you closer to your destination, not just back to neutral. Goldilocks withholding. Why too hot hurts too. We've talked about the danger of underwithholding, owing at tax time, scrambling, feeding the alligator too late. But there's another extreme that doesn't get enough attention. Massive refunds. I've had friends who love their big refunds. They talk about them like a bonus. But here's what actually happens. Every paycheck, their paycheck spending plan runs in the red. They're pulling from savings to stay afloat. Stress builds month after month. Then tax time hits, refunds arrive, and savings get replenished. Relief then floods in. Think about that pattern for a moment. That is stress 11 months out of the year so that you can relax for one day. Goldilocks withholding fixes that. When you dial in your withholding so that they're just right, you get more money in your paycheck, fewer negative weeks, and calmer decisions every single spending plan cycle. You don't need a once-a-year rescue. You need steady oxygen. At Triggator, we choose peace of mind over optics. Calm beats dramatic refunds every time. A windfall without a plan will disappear. There's an old truth in personal finance. Money without direction leaks away. A tax refund without a plan is like a magic trick. Now you see it, now you don't. And just like David Copperfield, it disappears fast. The Triggator triangle gives you two powerful destinations for a refund. The save side. A refund can turbocharge your peace of mind fund. Maybe it moves you from the $1,000 rung to the $2,000 rung in your emergency savings ladder. Maybe it shores up an underfunded alligator so that your per paycheck amount drops. That kind of a boost creates momentum, the kind that you feel every paycheck, not just once. The payoff debt side. Refunds make excellent debt snowflakes. If you've got a debt nearing the finish line or an emotional debt that's been weighing on you, a refund can take a big bite out of it. The sooner debt leaves your balance sheet, the sooner your paycheck stays yours. This isn't about being aggressive. It's about being intentional. Why directed money creates lasting calm. Research consistently shows that earmarked funds reduce stress and improve follow-through. A study summarized by the National Endowment for Financial Education found that people who assign clear jobs to incoming money are more likely to maintain savings and reduce revolving debt over time. Translation: direction beats discipline. When every dollar has a job, decisions get easier. You're not debating in the moment. You're executing a plan you already trust. Mix and match. Your refund, your journey. Here's the good news. Your refund plan doesn't have to be an all or nothing. Your financial life is dynamic. Your plan can be too. A medium snowball towards the debt, a boost to your emergency fund, padding the Christmas alligator so December stays calm. All of that is completely fine. The rule isn't perfection, it's assignment. Give every dollar a job before it hits your account, and it won't disappear. It'll move you forward. In Finding Nemo, Marlin is in chaos until there's a destination. P. Sherman, 42 Wallaby Way, Sydney. Once there's a clear target, every decision makes sense. Your refund needs a Sydney. Without it, you're just drifting. A refund isn't proof you're winning. What you do with it is. Goldilocks withholding keeps your year calm, and a clear refund plan turns a one-time event into lasting progress. Now, let's put it all together and lock in your next right move. If there's one image to carry with you from this episode, it's this. Money stress usually isn't about the size of the problem, it's about whether you planned for it. Taxes aren't a monster. They're an alligator, predictable, lurking, completely manageable when you respect where they live. Calm season isn't created by luck or loopholes. It's created when you choose Goldilocks withholding. Name your alligators early and give every dollar a job on purpose. Whether you owe, break even, or get a refund, the win isn't the outcome. It's that you stayed in control the whole way through. That's real progress, and you deserve to feel it. Today's challenge is about creating calm before tax day. Step 1, estimate. Log into your tax software or gather last year's return and get a realistic sense of where you're headed. Refund, break even, or owing. Don't file yet, just calculate. Step 2, choose your tool. If you're likely to owe, open a simple savings bucket, your tax alligator fund, and start feeding it now. Even one paycheck counts. If you're due a large refund, look at your withholding settings and identify one small adjustment towards Goldilocks. You don't have to nail it perfectly. Progress is the goal. Step 3, write your plan down. Decide today where that refund is going to go, whether it's towards an underfunded alligator, an emergency fund rung, or a targeted debt snowflake. Or if you owe, figure out how much you need to set aside starting today so that April 15th, the alligator doesn't bite. We're not trying to win April 15th. We're trying to win the whole year, calmly. You listen today, where did you recognize your own tax alligator? What would change in your stress level if your taxes were handled one paycheck at a time? If you get a refund this year, which side of the Triggator triangle will it strengthen first? Email me at podcast@triggator.com and share your stories and your questions. Or message me on Instagram, Facebook, or X @Triggator. If this episode helped you, follow the show so tax season never sneaks up on you again. Leave a review, especially if this episode helped you feel calmer about owing or refunds. Share this episode with a friend who dreads tax time every year. And don't forget to follow @Triggator on social media for real-world money systems that reduce stress, not add to it. Want early access to the Triggator app beta? Email podcast@triggator.com with beta access in the subject line if you want tools that make paycheck planning and alligator tracking simple. And lastly, don't forget to visit Triggator.com and download the free Triggator ebook and turn today's tax clarity into year-round peace of mind. In the next episode, we're hitting pause on panic and pushing stop on new debt. Stop the Bleeding is all about building momentum without adding pressure. Inventorying your debts, choosing a clear payoff strategy, and automating progress so that you don't have to rely on willpower. We'll also talk about calling creditors, lowering interest costs, and replacing risky card spending with simple guardrails that protect your peace of mind starting this week. Calm doesn't come from dodging alligators. It comes from knowing exactly where they are and planning your steps anyway. You're doing that now. Thanks for listening to Master Your Money, Budgeting, Saving, and Debt-Free Living. I'm your host, Nate Tanner. See you next time.